Okay, welcome to another episode of Hiring and Empowering Solutions. My name is Molly McGrath, and I am the co-founder of this revolutionary podcast and Hiring and Empowering Solutions. You can check us out at hiringandempowering.com. I'm not going to go into a big intro like I usually do for our podcasts and videos here because we're just going to hit it. I have the wonderful Jennifer MacDonnell with Kaiser Law Group with us today. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Molly. Happy to be here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited about our conversation today. And let me just talk to you about today's theme, how we came up with it. So today we're going to be speaking about characteristics of an entrepreneurial environment in the workplace. Okay, where did we come up with this subject? Every month I go through our analytics and looking at what search terms are people putting into good old Google when they're looking and make it their way to our website, to our podcast, to our blogs, what have you. And it's fascinating. The past 2 months, there have been different versions of this topic, characteristics of an environment, an entrepreneurial environment in a workplace, how to empower your employees to step up and lead, how to give up control and get employees, give more to employees, employee delegation, employee empowerment. I'm intrigued that that's a term that people are searching, even though that word's in our company name and really in the fabric of everything that we do. I'm just fascinated how much more different renditions of this that people are searching. And so Jennifer and I, when we had our last coaching call, I had said to her, can I interview you? Because when I think of the characteristics of an employee that really goes above and beyond, that has that entrepreneurial spirit that I talk about so often, Jennifer, you come to mind. That's you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you know, before we were recording, we had a fascinating conversation. So is it okay if I share the story? You're kind of win?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Very exciting.
So I don't know. It was definitely, I think it was the beginning of January, our very first call in the beginning of the new year. And I said to your attorney, Curtis, Lori, your client services director, and yourself, and what would you call your title in the law firm other than everything?
Curtis refers to it as senior managing paralegal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And you serve as like the team leader as well. You really have.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The accountability cup that we talk about often, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So on that call, I said, listen, guys, here's your new revenue goal. And everyone was like, oh, what? And I said, yeah, you know, I've been paying attention to what you've been up to the past year, looking at everything. Here's the deal. Let's just have fun with this. Let's throw it against the wall, see what sticks. Here's your new revenue goal. And if you all don't make it, and I even recorded on a Zoom, I said, Curtis, I'm going to give you all your money back that you paid me. And he said, all right, I got you on video saying that. And this is March, and you have hit your revenue goal, that new kind of big, crazy, scary goal. You've hit it the past 3 months, January, February, March, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's very exciting. And, you know, I couldn't have done it without the team, but because we're all proactively supporting the goal, which was great. We got everybody on the same playing field, right? So they all know the goal. So we're all proactively working on our projects to make sure that money gets in the bucket. And it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. We never thought we could do it, but we're doing it and it feels great.
You're doing it without killing yourselves and spending a bunch of additional money and things of that nature. You're just doing it because of the intentionality around it, right?
Correct. You know, even as small as taking a quick look the first week into the month where the money is sitting. So we're not looking at it a week before the month ends and struggling and hustling. We're proactively saying, okay, we can do this project, and this project to make the goal by the 15th. And let's start working on the next month then.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're really looking at it way far in advance.
Yes.
It happens so we can smoothly make the money and not feel pressure and the hustle.
Yeah. And one thing that I love about that is we kind of focused on the 3 C's. If I were to say, okay, what is the resource that we put to this? I think one of the biggest resources was taking Lori off the phones because she was answering the phones for 2 hours a week, I think it is, or we might have upped it now to 90 minutes. So 3 hours a week where she's focusing, and we came up with it, the 3 C's: calendar, conversions, and client experience. And we created key performance indicators for each one of them, really using the calendar almost like a jigsaw puzzle, so to speak. And she's just constantly moving things to me. And we came up with your formula for success. How many sales meetings do we need, i.e. initial meetings? How many money meetings do we need? And she just started. I think you said to me a couple weeks ago, you're like, oh my gosh, Lori even showed up in our weekly meeting, and she's already talking about April. And this was in February, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was just a fantastic change in our flow. Giving her that extra time allowed even me and her to talk more proactively about the next month before it even happens. We're not, hustling at the end and trying to stress out to make the money and make our goals. So yeah, even just that 2 hours just made a world of difference. And the 3 C's, I mean, the calendar is so much different now. It feels different. It's positive. The clients feel well taken care of. We feel like we're not, hustling on the back end trying to make the appointments happen. They're just happening.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And I even think it was even mid-month in February where Lori's like, we're a little short, right? Based on what I know today, we're going to be about $15,000 short or what have you. And her and I just started going through what works in production. What can we move up? What can we close? And she met with you, and the two of you were able to do it without even having a conversation with your attorney, with your entrepreneur, right?
Yeah. The attorneys are not involved. It's all about the production staff. So now Lori and I meet about 2 weeks in, and we take a look, and that week that we meet, we do the hustle. We make the money, we get it done before the 15th. That way we can start working on the next month. And without that coaching that she received, and without all of that insight from you and our coaching calls together, would we meet that goal? She got your coaching from you. I started coaching the staff on how to look at things more proactively. I mean, it just worked hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and she's even having fun. She's showing up so different on our coaching calls where she's got her reporting, she's intentional, and she's smiling. I said to her last week, I'm like, Lori, she said, I am having so much fun because I'm interacting with this like brain surgery. Like it's just cracking it open. And now that I know what I'm looking at, so go the calendar, so go cash flow, so go the calendar, so go the client experience. Last week, we started working on the scripts. I know you had many scripts in play, and she's saying, okay, this doesn't really feel like me. Can I say it like this? And it just even really making the phone calls her own. And she said, I feel like we're missing the acknowledgement in here. I want to add more compassion. I want to really speak into, I know this is overwhelming. Is it okay if I do that? And it was just so fascinating because her perspective of sitting in the client's chair saying, this is all overwhelming. I know that this is where you're going to this is a point you're going to hit where you're going to consider canceling or rescheduling your appointment. Let me just tell you, a time will come when that occurs. And let me tell you why you don't want to do that. And it's just, she's hitting all objections from every angle and laying out the journey for the client, not from a place of manipulation and getting in here, but just letting them know along the journey what different emotional points are going to hit, what different roadblocks they're going to hit, and already painting the picture for them. And I think she had shared with me, she's like, our cancellations and reschedules we're already starting to see, and it's only a couple weeks in that she's been doing that and seeing the positive impact.
True. And that's all part of working in an entrepreneurial environment. Our attorney is always looking for ways to make the client experience better, making the calendar better. So change is there all the time. And giving Lori that 2 hours just to breathe and embrace has allowed her to open her mind to that type of change and positively wanting to put her input in. And Curtis feels all that, or the attorney feels all that.
Yes.
So it just is it's a wonderful flow. And then it flows down to the staff, it flows down to the clients, So yeah, working with an entrepreneurial like Lori and I do, it's essential to have that breathing time to process everything your entrepreneurial wants to do.
Yeah.
It's not always easy.
No.
Because it's coming at you hard and fast, and you need to know how to project manage it and put it in its place, appropriate place for completion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to not have him involved. We've been so proactive and so on it that we actually get to inform him instead of him asking, what's going on? Why are we doing this? I think that's the biggest gift for Lori and I, is that we aren't being asked what's going on and why aren't we doing this? We're already telling him we're doing it. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And you have a team of how many in your law firm?
It's 5.
5. Okay.
So
So, going back to this characteristics of creating an entrepreneurial environment, this is one thing that really hit me when we started talking today, is that you said, I'm just so excited we've reached goal. We're getting ready to record today. And you said, even this morning, the attorney said to me, with all this stuff going on with coronavirus and, widespread panic going on and closing schools and impacting the employees and things of that nature. I think you said 5 weeks. They just announced 5 weeks.
Yeah, 5 weeks for the schools here. Yeah, for sure. So we're kind of just racing for what's going to happen next. The calendar may flux, but that's not going to stop us from hitting our goal.
No,
I said absolutely not.
Yeah.
Even if this wasn't happening and we thought it was okay to have a soft month, I'm thinking in my head, no, absolutely not. Because what if we do have a soft month? At least we've pumped up the previous months. Like, we need to look ahead and backwards and calculate accordingly. And I just want to hit it every month. I don't want to have any exceptions.
Yeah. So the attorney gave permission to the team from a place of compassion and just being who he is, that, listen, guys, it's okay if we don't reach goal. And the team, the empowered entrepreneurial team, said, no way, Jose.
No way. That's not in our wheelhouse. We can't settle on that. Yeah, we can't. We're not going to settle. We're going to go for the brass ring. We're going to go for the whole thing, the whole enchilada. So, yeah.
And, Jennifer, so we're going to talk about here. I want you and I to just kind of have some fun and talk about what we believe the characteristics of creating an entrepreneurial environment. I have a few ideas. I know you do, and what I've witnessed with your firm. But what I love about the entrepreneurial environment that you've even created, and I think let's talk about this right now, because it's really real and very heavy for people right now about the crisis going on, that you all have just adapted. So your attorney's not even in the office, right? He is home, working from home and conducting meetings by Zoom, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's at home and we're conducting everything remotely with him. We have a full team at the office. And yeah, the clients don't seem to be phased. So we're very happy and we're still hitting our marks. So, it's still working. We're good with that. It's okay to adapt to change. If I didn't, and if we weren't open to it, we wouldn't hit our goal. And that's just, to me, that's again, not in our wheelhouse. We really want to support the attorney and let him work at home, but not stop production. Heck
Right.
no. Let's keep going. There's nothing stopping us. There's always alternatives. So
And the clients probably are so fascinated by this idea of technology. They're so often, especially in the estate planning and elder law space, they believe that the clients are afraid of technology. They don't understand it, but with their grandkids and kids, and in this day and age, they're the highest number of people on Facebook and resharing everything with their friends and family and community. So they're probably loving that they get to see Curtis working from his home office. And, like even me here in my office, I can't tell you, I just got off another client meeting, and I've worked virtually since 2000. So I have worked virtually. It's just amazing for 20 years now. And never do I get less hires or people afraid to write me checks or what have you. I get comments all the time like, oh, I love your office. Oh my gosh, where'd you get that pillow? What have you. And it doesn't cheapen the experience at all. Quite the opposite, that I think that when you are working in an environment on a Zoom, sometimes it's even, you feel more connected than even being in the conference room, because it feels so, there's something about the eye-to-eye interaction here on video, right?
True. And we experienced that yesterday. We had made some adjustments. Our attorneys working from home were using Zoom. So we made some camera adjustments, voice adjustments, and it went fantastic. I mean, we engaged the clients that came in all day yesterday. So it didn't faze them. In fact, I think they're quite used to it. I mean, we're a media-driven community at large. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. So I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. In fact, it's enhanced it quite a bit.
Oh, great. Mm-hmm. So let's speak into, and I think it's even more when we scheduled to do this, but I think it's not ironic. It's divine intervention that we're having this conversation where people are scared and deeply curious about what to do to pivot and change. And this wouldn't have happened if Curtis didn't have an entrepreneurial team. So what do you believe, if you had to just download some of the characteristics that make you who you are and why you want to support your entrepreneurial above and beyond versus just showing up every day, doing what's asked of you, collecting your paycheck and going home?
There's so much more. Well, let me start by saying, the reason why I got into this industry, we're an estate planning firm. We're here to help families, right? So that's at the bottom of my heart. I wear my heart on my sleeve. We hire people who wear hearts on their sleeves. So you can imagine my entrepreneur also does that. So, this entrepreneurial this whole environment, if we truly support our entrepreneurial, and we love our clients deeply in what we do, we aren't going to settle. I'm going to fully support whatever he wants to do. And I'm going to ask the whys. He may not always tell me the whys. He's going to say to me, this is a prime example. Let's see. He'll say to me, I'm going to start working at home and that'll be it, right? And I'll say, okay, but it's my job to dive deep. What's on your mind? What's going on? This is going to be super fun. Let's see what we need to do. Let's see what we need to tell the staff. Let's see what we need to tell the clients. Let's look at the calendar. That's all part of what makes this entrepreneurial environment work. And we flow it down to the staff. So when I talk to my entrepreneur, I don't stop there. I don't stop like in his office and I walk out his door and say, okay, that's done. Mm-hmm. No, I'm going up to Lori and I'm talking to her about it, or I'm talking to the staff to see what we can do on production. Do we have to drop off documents to the attorney so he can review them? How can we streamline that a bit? We're working it out without him having to say too much, So that's what I have to say about why I got in, what I do. I can just say that my passion runs deeper than the surface. So I I just love who I work for. He truly supports my journey. He's coached me, developed my professional deliveries. He's gotten me a coach like you, and and through that, I've gotten stronger and I've gained his trust to train a staff that he also trusts. And what a wonderful feeling that is. It's creating a successful entrepreneurial environment that's not a complete disaster. You know, things aren't left at his office. They're discussed openly. We work as a team on projects. It's not a environment where there's, it's only me and I'm running the entire show and I'm doing all the work. No, I in team, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but I do have to say that I love what I do. It makes the biggest difference in the world.
Yeah. And it shows. Here's what I heard from you of the entrepreneurial, the characteristics of supporting an entrepreneur and having those attributes and characteristics. What I heard from you is, first and foremost, you always bring your everyone in the office back to the why. Not why are we doing this, like from a place of, but from deep curiosity to say, okay, well, give me the why so I can understand that. And I know often there'll be, because just to paint the picture, your entrepreneur is a quick start and a fact finder. So you're working with like a schizophrenic, if you will, is what I call that Colby often.
Nicely,
right?
But yes.
Yeah. He can have great ideas and let's do this and this and this. And I know we're doing this, but let's shift gears. He could have been pivoting like that during this time right now. And then there's other times where we'll recommend, okay, let's make changes in the, design meeting, signing meeting, or what have you. And then he's got 74 questions and putting the brakes on and what have you. And I love that combination. And that combination works so well as a high analytic and in addition to an innovator when you have a team like you do. Because so often, and I've witnessed it firsthand, is that when you will ask the why, it gives him the power of the pause and then to share it, freedom, just kind of download it, do a thought download, and then we'll unpack it and say, okay, well, does it make sense? Is it something we should do now? Should we versus being, as you hear me talk about all the time, a yes chick and just say, okay, which I witness all the time, and thinking that, well, he's an attorney, which, that's no small feat there to become an attorney. He's an entrepreneur. He's a smart businessman, what have you. So this must be the greatest idea in the world and he must know. So, okay, let's get behind it. You're not. You're asking the powerful questions. You're getting clear on his why, making sure where it sits in his heart, but also where it sits in the business and if it makes business sense. And then you're asking the deeper questions and you're not coming from a place of no, but you're coming from a place of knowing and really wanting to understand that. I think are the two biggest things. And I'm gonna do a shameless plug here, if you will. I think the third biggest piece is him investing in you having a coach. And there is a massive difference between the businesses, the humans, the attorneys that I see that invest in coaching and invest in the dedication, because it's not really even coaching, it's the accountability. You guys show up every single week and we're not just chit-chatting and we're running a tight ship. We have an agenda. We have goals. We have so often, even so, this is such the difference. This right here, I think, is the defining line of delineation between having an employee and having somebody who really is invested in a career and truly an entrepreneur. Forever, I've been pushing you guys to, okay, we got to systematize this marketing. We have to start running it like a board of directors, like we do with the client in the process, the estate planning process, and every other area of the vision. And time again, Curtis, you know what his pushback was? Worried about your time. He's like, okay, I know Jennifer wants this, but I know what's on her plate. And I know what's on your plate. But, when you and I went through your entire time, you're like, listen, I can do this, number one, with my eyes closed. Number two, it's not additional work for me because it's actually saving me time, because all of the hallway conversations and the 47 emails that you forward to me about marketing anyways, it's just going to be more intentional, and I'm going to be able to plan it into my world. Somebody who doesn't have an entrepreneur mindset doesn't say that. They're like, oh, sweet. One less job I have to do. Okay, you're right. Yeah, I'm really busy, right?
Yeah, working for someone like Curtis, who is an entrepreneur with wonderful ideas, it is exciting all the time. All the time. And you're right. I have to ask him the whys, and then we have to unpack it. But then once I know the whys and we unpack it, I systematically put it in place. Okay, this is what we're going to do next. We're going to calendar time on your calendar for an hour to discuss. Then we're going to roll it out to the employees the next week. We're going to have it in a system by the third week, and it's going to be in play by the fourth week. And it's a matter of just telling him what you think will work for the staff. And he loves that. He loves that. If I said to him, okay, that's fine, I'll put it on my list, and we'll get to it. And I don't let him tell me the whys. I don't let him unpack it. We don't put a system in place. It just wouldn't work for him, for your entrepreneur who is innovative and exciting and has great ideas on how to grow the business and make things better. So being an entrepreneur and having coaching from you through Curtis has been the greatest thing. And you're right, shameless plug, but needed. I have to tell you a story. Before we got on with you and your firm to do coaching, I had already done some research, and I had already found you. And I had been looking for a coach without Curtis even knowing. Like, I knew it was the time. I'm working for a very powerful attorney who has tons of ideas, and I need to learn how to harness it better than I already do, right? And so I already had your name. I'm coming into his office, and he says, I got in touch with Lainey, and I was talking to her. And he goes, well, I got in touch with Molly. I was talking to her. And it was done. But that's part of my entrepreneurial lifestyle. I am always looking how to make myself better for my attorney, so that I can sufficiently support him in his environment that he's created, because it is his, and a lot of people forget that. It is your attorney's environment, and you're there to support him in the best way that, in the way that he would respect and trust. So.
Yeah. And because you were deeply curious and you're on a path of growth, and you knew that if I'm going to keep up at this pace, if I'm going to keep up with him, if this is going to be my forever home, I need to up-level my game as well. And I need to protect my emotional capital. I need to protect my energy. And it's not even protect, but it's a part of just pace it and be able to match him where he's at, and then pull him back when I need to. And he's got to it's a dance, and understanding that it's a dance, and you don't need to hire every employee like that, because I know that there are people in your firm that are really great people, and they were a sleeping giant, if you will. But having someone like you, Jennifer, that thinks and operates like Curtis, that it's transcend throughout your building, and you've empowered other people that, they might not all be on a path of coaching, but they're open to the messaging in the way that you are trying to emulate through your culture.
True. And for us here, I've always tried to tell Curtis, let's not hire for experience, because that's not always the key factor. We want to hire for those people that are open to change and your environment, your attorney's environment. And that's what we've done, and we've stuck to it. And we've got some wonderful employees that just have learned and grown and One day, I mean, I always say this to them. One day I want you to sit in my seat. You have to be able to sit in my seat. Let's get you there. And it makes it so exciting. Let's talk about the entrepreneur. Let me tell you some tips and tricks. Let me tell you how to communicate with him. I want you to be in my seat. Because that only makes us stronger as a team, right? I don't want to hold it all in and not just, let it all out, teach everybody. So, yeah.
You said something so great. Lainey and I have talked about this for years, and Lainey shares a great story about this, about how she was sitting in your seat for her attorney way back when, and she would tell her team that, and they'd say, we don't want to sit in your seat. We are seeing the stressed out, crappy version. You're always frazzled. You're always busy. The attorney's an absolute disaster every day. He's always so busy and stressed out. And that was the greatest aha slap in the face that she ever got of, it's not like you're hiding stuff from them, but because this is really how you all operate. You have the conversation, but you don't operate from a place of frazzled and stressed out and busy. Yeah, we're busy. Yes, we have a lot of work. Yes, we're dealing with the aging population and some really emotionally charged. There's fewer days ahead than behind. And even today, like right now in this very time, I see attorneys coming completely unhinged and unglued and paralyzed in fear. Right now, my phone's been blowing up, and it's, so go the coach, so go the coachees. There is no better time right now during this crisis to be in the estate planning and the elder law arena. And you bring that, where I always say your job, people will say to me, I feel like I'm a professional babysitter. I feel like I'm always babysitting my attorney. I'm either talking him off the ledge from being stressed out about cash flow, calendar, what have you, or, workflow or employees, all the things that are coming at him. And I say, there is no greater honor than to be able to be a professional babysitter, to be a professional coach for your attorney. And that's what I think the biggest piece of the characteristics and the attributes of having a team and creating a culture of entrepreneurial. And that term's so overused sometimes, what I like to call it simplistic terms of, entrepreneurial employees, entrepreneurs, whatever it is that they're deeply curious, like your why are we doing this? They want to understand. They want to understand why we're doing what we're doing from a place of just, okay, does it make sense? Can we do it more efficiently, effectively, what have you? And maybe there's a deeper why, like personal reason for you. Let's get you that win too. Let's get the business win and the personal win. And whatever it is, once I understand the whole scope of it, there might be multipliers that come out of this. So it's a deeply curious piece of it. And I think it's really the having the courage to use your voice and do the honest, while respectful pushback, and being able to say, okay, time out, let's pause, let's look at that. And then I think the third piece that I heard you say is giving the attorney and letting them know I love it that you care about us as employees and that you want to take us into consideration, but we're adults and you don't need to caretake us. Just give us a whole vision, give us everything that you have, and then together we'll map it out and we'll figure out who's doing what to reach goal. But so often I hear from entrepreneurs that they hold back from sharing in such a wonderful, loving place. They don't want to freak out their team, whether it's $1 million idea or it's that things are looking tight right now and we need to pivot. But if you just share it, don't worry about us. We're adults and we'll figure it out. But don't hold back from us either.
Right. True. One of the things that I've really worked on this last year is, I call it protecting the staff, protecting the attorney. So, I have conversations with Curtis, big picture, about staffing, about development, where people are. But, I don't necessarily voice that beyond his glass doors, but what the staff will feel is me coaching them, giving them the insight, getting them to a place where we think they need to be. And it goes backwards too. if I'm coaching an employee and we're working through some things, I may not necessarily freak my attorney out. We're going to work through it and everything's going to be fine. So, and I tell the staff, we need to protect our attorney from things entering in his office, so let's work it out. Then we'll bring it to him and say, this is what happened and this is how we solved it. We're not going to run into his office and say, this is what happened. What are we going to do? I do say I'm really proud that we're able to protect our attorney, but allow him the space to honestly tell us his vision. And then in turn, not freak out the entire staff. Everything's stable and seamless, and we hold it in a safe spot, and we don't freak out.
You just said something really powerful. You said it earlier, and then you said a flip side of that right now. So what I just heard is that you under communicate with your attorney and you over communicate with your attorney, and you know the fine line and when for each. So for example, under communicate. If there's things, I know a few weeks ago, even Lori, you're like, okay, we're a little bit short. I'm going to talk to Jennifer. I'm going to see if she can move up her production, because you are a paralegal and a lot of the production is on your plate, which is revenue. If it's in production, we're already hired and the final check comes on delivery. So she came to you, you guys looked at it. Curtis wasn't even aware of that conversation. He didn't even know. And then you came to him and you let him know in the Monday meeting, okay, here's what we did. And that's wonderful. So that's an example of under communicating. Or we have an employee that's not pulling their weight or not doing their work. You guys, whoever's appropriate, whether it's you and the other associate attorney or the paraprofessional team, you say, okay, let's do X, Y, and Z to have a conversation with them. Let's pull the data, the reporting, what workload they have, how long it will take them to get X, Y, and Z. And then you update Curtis in the Monday meeting. So that's an example of under communicating. I want to highlight what you said earlier about over communicating, because you said, Curtis gives you idea and you don't just write it down on your pad. And that's the biggest gripe I hear from attorneys so long. They're like, all right, we sit in meetings, I get the blank stare, they shake their head, they put stuff on their list and I have no idea where the hell it went. And so I'm waking up at 2:00 in the morning and I'm nervous. Is she ever going to get to that? When's he going to do this? Yada, yada, yada. And what I love that you said is that you kind of clarify and verify, go back and say, okay, great. This is what I have. When after we leave this meeting, I'm going to put it into the schedule. I'm going to put on the project focuser. You're going to tell them what you're going to do from a project management standpoint. And then they are going to have the confidence and faith because it's going to come back around in your next meeting. It's going to be somewhere. It's going to be in the appropriate place versus in the proverbial, 50 pages of legal pad notes that when people walk out of meetings, entrepreneurs and attorneys are like, oh boy, I'm having stress. Where's that notepad going? What are they doing with that notepad?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some items that are low priority.
Yeah.
And they may sit there for a little while, but I've already discussed it with my attorney and he's told me, yeah, that's totally low priority. Push that off for a few months and it will be on a list, but it'll be there. But other things like, for instance, this marketing adventure we're doing, and you know all about that, right?
Yep.
He was nervous and he asked me about the scripts and I go, no, you don't need to worry about that. That's in my bucket. You'll see the appointment on the calendar next week. We have time set to review the scripts and then we're going to turn it around. So I don't want you to worry about that. It's there. And it's just a matter of building the trust with that particular project. He kind of, he already has let me go on everything else because he trusts that it's there. But this is new, right?
Yes.
So I'm working through it with him. He's slowly but surely starting to trust the process and knowing that it's going to end up on his calendar. I'm going to sit with him. We're going to go through it and we're going to get it through whatever it needs to get through to get it to the finish line. So, I think that's my biggest win for the year, actually, is with your coaching and your help that I've been able to master that for him. Yeah. And what a great feeling for him and what a fantastic feeling for me. Because when I first started my coaching with you, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to gain his trust? I know he trusts me on a certain level, but I want to do this more. I want to go farther. And that's how, with your help, I mastered it. So
Yeah.
it's
You said something really critical and brought me back to when we so often attorneys, and it's not that they don't trust you, or sometimes so often, attorneys they're trained skeptics, right? They learned that in law
yeah,
school.
they can't
And
help it.
no, they can't help it. It's ingrained in them. And it's not about, I always tell people, I don't love the word trust because people really want to be trusting and in what's not to trust about the people that you hire, but it's more of confidence
Yeah.
in proof
Okay.
of concept.
Mhm.
And I remember you said how, because yes, most attorneys do show up and they're like, listen, I have bags full of stories of people that I've given stuff to and they haven't delivered. They haven't showed up. I've gotten screwed here, there, and what have you. And nobody really understands what I mean when I give them something and how to bring the ball across the finish line, so to speak. And we worked really hard on that. And I think the biggest piece was that every day you would step 1% more into the
Yeah.
courage of really just using your voice and just saying, okay, you were asking deeper questions. You were just coming and saying, okay, here's what I've done, almost, and constantly just giving proof of concepts like, okay, you gave me this last week. And this is what I did with it. This is how I systematized it. This is how we can duplicate it. Here's the result that came out of this. Now, why do you need to be involved? What more do you need to see? And I think that's a question you and I and Lori worked on of what
Mhm.
further evidence do you need to see to know that this is consistent, it's constant, it's duplicated. Like you really can let go of control. So what is it that you're still holding on to that's not allowing you to let go of control of this? And it's always in just asking the really pointed questions, right?
Right. Completely. I have to say, before we started the coaching, I come from a paralegal background where working for maybe attorneys that didn't allow that open communication. So coming to a firm where I'm working for a true entrepreneur who has amazing ideas and exciting concepts, learning how to hone that in and ask the question. It took a lot of work, right, Molly, for
Yeah.
me to gain the confidence and feel that it was okay to ask my attorney questions. It's okay as long as you're coming from a safe place. It's
Hmm.
an honest place. You're not being combative. You're not being negative. You truly want to learn and you want to know what's in his head. Because once you get to that point and you kind of start thinking before it even comes out, you know exactly what he's going to say. So you can walk into that room prepared before he even talks about it, which is also an excellent feeling. Excellent.
Mm. Yes.
Being pre-prepared, you already know what's coming and you're ready.
As you were talking, it hit me. I think another attribute of having, and this on the attorney side, the business owner side, is that you need to be willing to be vulnerable. If you want people that are going to step up and lead, if you really want to let go of control, if you want people to care as much as you do about the clients, about the business, about the calendar, about the cash flow, about what we're going to do during this crisis right now, or whatever it might be, you have to be vulnerable and you have to be real. So what I love about Curtis is he would constantly say, all right, Molly, I'm going to have trouble letting go of this. All right, Molly, I need to process this. And I'd say, okay, like honor your process. And he would say, I've done this before and I don't, that so and so, it's never worked out. He was
Mm-hmm.
real. He was saying, okay, I'm having lack of trust here. I have lack of confidence here. It's something new. Like to your point with the marketing, project that you're deploying. I think it's safe to say it's being on camera, being on video and recording videos, and there's pieces of that. And in this day and age, attorneys, if you're listening, and employees, it's scary. I know it sounds foreign. Like, I've seen you do workshops, presentations. I've seen you sit down and just crush it with clients and connect with them. But when it comes to video, it's something. And he was willing to say, okay, I'm going to overanalyze this. I'm going to make it into a bigger project. And right there in the meeting, you, Nate, and I were like, okay, we know that about you. So take it, let us do it. And the only thing you have to do is show up. And we said, okay, I said, Jennifer, just tell him what he needs to wear, what the background's going to look like, because he just needs to know that. And don't worry about anything else. He's like, all right, I'm going to trust you guys, but I'm still nervous about it, right? So you have to be honest, attorneys. If you want people to step up and lead, you have to be real. You have to be vulnerable and say the things that are holding you back and stopping you. You can say, I have trust issues, or I don't have a lot of confidence that anyone's going to be able to do this. Because for an employee, and for an employee that really truly cares, like Jennifer, for you, you're like, thank you for saying that out loud. Now I know my initiative is not just to check the box and get the project done or the task done or what have you. My initiative and my job is also to over communicate with you how I got to where I was, and how I'm, and also speaking into how you can have confidence that the other shoe's not going to drop on this again.
Correct. And for those attorneys who, for the support staff where they have attorneys that aren't that open to letting go or telling you straight up, I have a lack of trust about this, I would recommend asking them many times over and over, don't give up. If you truly love it and you want to expand your professional, ladder, so to speak, keep asking, how can I help? I know that something's going on here, and this is what I'm sensing. What can I do? Is there anything I can do? And just keep asking. It's kind of like asking a friend, but you're creating a space for your attorney to trust, to tell you and be vulnerable. Because they're not going to be vulnerable if you don't approach it, or you ignore it all the way. If you ignore it, they're going to think you don't care. Right?
And you're sensing it. And they're so grateful. They're like, wow, someone's actually awake, paying attention, right?
Yep, paying attention. And that's really all your attorney wants you to do, is pay attention, be present, help him through those tough spots. It's tough being at the top.
Yes. It's lonely at the top.
It's pretty lonely.
Yes.
Yeah. So you want people who understand what you're trying to do, your vision, your hopes, your dreams. That's what we're there for him or her.
Yeah. As you were saying that, it reminded me of one question that when Lori and I were working on this and I know, she had said, I don't know what he wants. I don't know what, I think I'm doing what he wants and how. And I remember we came up with this one question. So attorneys and employees that are listening to this, adopt this. Here's another way to say it, is that you can say, what are you not seeing right now that you wish you could see? What is one thing I can do to improve your confidence in me, in this situation? What do you need to see for me to help you to let go of control? So first question is, what are you not seeing right now that you are desperate to see in whatever the situation is? It might even be a global question in the firm. I see you're stressed out. I see you're not delegating. All the work's going back onto your desk. I can sense it. What are you not seeing right now that you really want to see in the law firm? And be quiet. And let them download and take notes and take notice and reflect it back to them. And then the second question is, what do you need to see to let go of X with confidence for me to be able to take this off your plate with full faith and confidence? And then schedule a follow-up meeting with them and say, okay, I don't know the answer right now, but I'm going to figure this out, and let's meet every week until we figure it out. And you can fully say, I have full faith and confidence to let go of this.
Right. I mean, that's a perfect scenario where you're taking it from your pad and either making it happen and coming back and saying, this is what I did to correct it, and this is what we're going to do going forward. Or you take it on your pad, you think about it, you go back to your attorney and you say, am I on the right track? This is where I think we should head. These are the employees that can do it, or I'm going to do this way. You know, you can't come from a place of defensiveness. You have to completely embrace it so you can improve that item that he wants to see, what's making him feel anxious. You know, so yeah, great scenario. Great scenario. That's exactly what I do.
Yes.
That's exactly, and that's what I found works best with Curtis. He wants to see it in action. He wants to feel it. He wants to know what you've done. And then it flows from there. I mean, the trust has come eventually, you know, it's built. It's definitely built. It is built.
I love it. Wow, Jennifer, I think you just nailed it with he needs to see it in action. He needs to feel it. So, you know, just like the clients,
yeah,
it needs to be an experience and it needs to be experiential. So that is a key distinction of really the characteristics of what distinguishes from somebody who's just in there collecting a paycheck, and also how to over communicate. And I think a really good barometer for when they can let go, like, all right, are you feeling it? And you're seeing it in action. What else do you need to see? That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
What would you say in closing for attorneys that are listening to this and they say, okay, like I need a Jennifer ASAP. I need a Lori ASAP.
Yeah.
What would you say for them, for the people that they're already employing that are in their office, or an employee that's listening to this and like, cheapers, I want to be Jennifer when I grow up, but I don't know how to have this conversation with my attorney. We've never talked or acted or operated like this. What would you say to the employees and teams? What drive-by coaching or nugget would you leave for them to start creating this culture and finding at least somebody in the firm to be the right-hand person like you have for Curtis?
Well, for the paralegals that are growing up out there, the support staff that are growing, show up with your pad and be present. Just be present. Eye contact. Ask questions and then schedule a follow-up meeting. Just force yourself to do it. Make the attorney feel, hear it, see it, and do it over and over and over proactively, and you'll build it. You will build that relationship. You know, also step out of the office with your attorney. I mean, step out with them, go have lunch, go have a cup of coffee, go get a bagel, you know, connect on a professional level. Tell him what your dreams are so he knows a little piece about you. Ask him what his dreams are. It may not all be firm related, but at least you're building a professional relationship. It's just not you sitting at your desk doing your 9 to 5, you know. And for the attorneys, you know, keep an open mind. Let them bring their ideas. They may not all be good, but they could be refined, you know, and please just unpack it with them. Let them hear what's making you feel nervous.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way we're going to fix it for you. If we know, it's the only way. So yeah, keep an open mind and just unpack it with them. Feel free to unpack it. They're wanting it, but they kind of don't know how to approach you yet.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't feel afraid. You'll be amazed at what happens next because it's going to open the door for them to communicate with you about things in the firm that they can streamline. They can give you insight. They're on the ground floor. They're on the ground floor while you're in the conference room or talking with the clients. Let them take it. Let them run with it.
Wow. Yeah. Powerful. And so simple. I mean, it really comes down to connection, communication, vulnerability, and just
Yeah.
sharing. You're not going to freak out your employees to say, okay, this is where I'm at. And even if it's something as simple as I need time with my family, I'm not getting time with my family, whatever it might be. I'm worried about cash flow. I'm worried about the calendar. I'm worried about cancellations and reschedules. We're not built to suffer in silence. And they know you don't have it all figured out, and they will take a bullet for you. Your employees will absolutely step up and lead in any way behind vulnerability. And if you're not aware of it, you're not accustomed to it, I highly recommend going to YouTube and watching The Power of Vulnerability by Brene Brown. It's the highest viewed YouTube video, and I think that thing's like 7 years old and still to this day. So attorneys, if you struggle with that, go watch it, because people will get behind that every day. Jennifer, I know you need that conference room for appointments. So I thank you for your wisdom and for your time today and sharing. I know so many law firms are going to learn so much from this episode. So I can't thank you enough.
Happy to be here. Happy to help anytime. Thank you.
Okay, this has been another episode of Hiring and Empowering Solutions. Until next time, go crush it.